Hey guys, Mrs. Horn here. I have a short video today on the respiratory system. You should be on page 16 in your homeostasis packet, and I'm just going to walk you through 3 diagrams that I have. And you can label the diagrams on your page 16 and then add any other notes of just things that I say or explain as I go through. On your diagram, you need to have all of these structures labeled. The picture that I have looks slightly different from the one that's in your packet, but the structure of the system is very similar. You'd start with the nasal cavity. From the nose and the mouth, the back of the throat would be the pharynx. The larynx, which is also called the voice box, that's where the vocal cords are. The esophagus is labeled in this picture, hard to see in the one in your packet, but the esophagus is not part of the respiratory system. It's part of the digestive system, so please don't confuse that. It's not part of this system. From the larynx, air that is inhaled would travel through the trachea. There's one trachea. You can feel it when you feel your throat where your neck is. If you move your hands up and down, it feels a little rigid or a little bumpy. That's your trachea. It's very, very hard. Your esophagus will be hidden right behind that. The trachea would branch into 2 bronchi. On this diagram is labeled bronchus. And the bronchi are going to take you into both of the lungs. And in the lungs, as we get further down in, the bronchi branch off into many branches called the bronchioles. This diagram shows where the heart is in relation to the lungs. And from the activity that we did during the circulatory system, and you were mapping out the path of the blood from the chambers of the heart out to the lungs, I had asked a lot of you to put the lungs on either side of the heart, and it shows it perfectly. The heart is right in the middle of the lungs. The diaphragm is a structure that's at the bottom of the lungs, and this, as that contracts and expands, that's what helps pull air in when you inhale or push air out when you exhale. Now, if we were to zoom in, so I have a little zoom box right here. If we were to zoom in to get a closer look at what's happening at the very tip of that bronchi, this is what it would look like. So here's a bronchiole, and as that tube comes to an end, we have bunches of grapes at the end of them. That's what they look like. These little grapes are called alveoli. Each one is a cell, and it is an air sac, and they're very, very small. These alveoli are wrapped in blood vessels, so we have arteries and veins wrapped around them. The pulmonary artery is the blood vessel that's actually coming into the lungs. It's blue because it's showing that it's deoxygenated. And as it wraps around those alveoli, what's happening, and I'm going to get a closer view. Here's a view of just one alveoli, or we could call it an alveolus if you use just a singular form. As that pulmonary artery blood comes around that alveoli, oxygen from the air sac will diffuse into the artery, and carbon dioxide will diffuse from the artery back into the air sac. And then this blood that's leaving the alveoli is very oxygen rich. This is the pulmonary vein. It's going to bring this blood back to the heart, into the left atrium, so that that blood can then get pumped around the body and deliver oxygen. This is a capillary that surrounds this alveoli, and we know that capillaries are very, very small enough for blood to fit through at a single file rate. The walls of capillaries, all along with the walls of the alveoli, are very, very thin, which allows for really efficient diffusion of these gases. So not a ton of notes for the respiratory system. The big concept that we need to know for this system is diffusion, and what gases are being diffused, the name of the structure where diffusion occurs, and how you get there. So being able to trace the path of an oxygen molecule all the way down to the alveoli, and then how it gets into the blood, and then being able to trace the carbon dioxide from the blood into the alveoli, and then all the way back out of the system. So I hope this helps.